Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, Red Elevator. I'm Nina Takesh. This is the Red Elevator, and today we are going to have the very private Q&A, the much anticipated personal journey that I've been on, and some of your dying questions. Am I excited about this? I'm a little nervous, so follow me. And since so many of you asked today, I am wearing a lovely dress by ba&sh. It is almost like a silk crepe fabric with black polka dots. My shoes are from Celine, which I purchased approximately a year ago. Also, on a very fun note, I would like to announce the winner of our $350 Anthropology bedding giveaway. Thank you, Anthropology, for donating this gorgeous bedding, and the winner is Marta Lopez. So here we are sitting in my living room in what will be a different kind of Red Elevator, where I'm going to be talking a little bit about my personal journey, because I did share a little bit about my personal journey in the very last Q&A that we did. And if you haven't seen that Q&A, this is really a sequel, a precursor, or shall I say part 2, and that will be linked right above here for you to check out. So what does one do when one finds themselves completely in shock, alone? And I had found out, and the reason I actually separated, which I never shared on social media, but I'm going to share now, because I believe that there are life lessons and things that can be learned from anybody's experience. And so I don't mind sharing if this helps people that are out there who are in similar situations. But I found myself having been married and found out that my husband was having an affair. And my child was basically a year and a half. And it was probably the single worst thing that has ever happened to me. It has taken me many, many years to heal from that. But I'm here to tell you that if you're in a similar situation, your life is not over like I thought it was. Your life is actually just beginning. So what can I tell you? What I learned throughout my life is that things happen specifically for a reason. Sometimes you fight the things that you believe are better for you, and you come to realize that in fact there was a bigger plan at play. Whether it's a spiritual being or whether it's a higher power, it doesn't really matter. You don't have to be religious to believe in that. What you have to believe is that you must listen to the signals, and you must listen to your heart, and you must listen to your gut instinct. Your gut instinct is really going to pave the way for you. When I started listening to my gut instinct, and when I started to really be who I authentically needed to be, everything literally came together. So have you ever wondered why there's a little voice inside your head that keeps talking and literally talks and talks and talks and talks? And that voice never says anything nice or kind. Every single one of us have that voice. That annoying voice is basically your ego. And that ego-based thinking is what is very, very destructive. That voice needs to be shut out completely. It's an exercise that I do on a regular basis. I find myself talking to myself, and it's never like, Nina, you look wonderful today. Nina, you did a great job. You're amazing. The voice inside your head is essentially a type of manifestation of your insecurities. You start believing the negativity, and then you're hard on yourself, you're down on yourself, you could easily get depressed, and that voice does not shut off. If that voice was positive, it would be an entirely different matter. But that voice is never complimentary. So what you have to do is, in my opinion, what really helped me was to read Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth. When I was introduced to that book by Oprah Winfrey, whom I had the really incredible experience of having met one time. I met her at a big event. So I essentially ran up to Oprah and I said, Oprah, I have to tell you that I am probably one of your biggest fans. I'm sure she gets this all the time, but I had to do it. And I'm typically shy, not so much anymore, but I used to be shy. This was about 10 years ago. And I said, Oprah, you have literally changed my life. And she said, how so? And I said, well, I read the book that you recommended, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. I said, I really loved chapters. I mentioned a chapter that I liked. She said, Nina, and she looked at me straight in the eye. She goes, I want you to focus on chapters 7 and 8. You're really gonna get a lot of information that's going to help you. Something to that effect. I can't remember her exact words, but she said, Nina, you really must focus on chapters 7 and 8. So the point of all of this is, I'm going to list these books for you below in the description box. I am an interior designer. I share my passion with you guys, but I also feel like I need to open up and help those that are willing and want the help so that they too can live in the present. And living in the present is what helped me come out of probably a very dark, depressing time in my life. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that my transformation happened overnight. It didn't. It probably took many years for this transformation to happen, but I wish the now me had given advice to the younger me. And if I could have done that, this is what I would have said to her. I would have said, Nina, you have everything to live for. Why? Because you're healthy, you have a beautiful child, and know the perfect life that you had tried to create, which was essentially false and really artificial, really didn't exist. You didn't have the perfect family. You didn't have the perfect marriage. You didn't have the beautiful, life that you thought that you had. In fact, you had a shattered marriage that didn't work. And why would you want to go back to that situation? Why not shed all of the discussions that are in your head, all of the people that are looking and judging you? Forget that. It doesn't matter. People will gossip about you for 5 minutes and then they go on with their lives. So for me to sit and worry for years as to what people are thinking and what people are saying is really, truly a waste of time. It doesn't change who you are. It doesn't bring any positivity into your life. It just brings you down. So I would have said, Nina, let go. What's gone is gone. And it's an experience that you had to live in order to evolve, in order to grow. And as bad as that experience was, you have learned who it is that you truly are, and you need to be yourself. You need to be your authentic self. When I was more my authentic self, which is basically a very straightforward, more of not such a quiet, mousy type, which I tended to be in my past marriage. A, I was younger, and B, I wanted to placate. When I stopped placating people, when I stopped living to please other people, and I started to live to please myself and to make sure that I could provide for my son, then everything else just slowly disappeared. And everything that I wanted started to materialize. At the time, I put all of my energy into what it was, a baby boutique that I owned. And this was a very, very successful boutique by the name of Petit Trésor. And Petit Trésor really was my life. When I found myself alone, having to pay most of my bills and having to support our child, I had no choice but to make my entire focus of my life my work. And that's where everything started to fall into place. Did I love working? I always have. I've always been very productive. I've always been very motivated, but I immersed myself fully into my work. My passion became my work. My passion became living in a way where I would be able to support my son. I would be able to send him to a good school. I'd be able to pay for that. We live in Los Angeles, and unfortunately public schools in certain areas of Los Angeles are not great. So in order for me to be able to do all the things that I had a privilege of doing when I grew up, the only way to do it was for me to do it myself. I wasn't going to do it with help. I was going to tackle it. And I tackled it year after year, step by step. It wasn't easy, but I did it. And then I got the experience. I got the know-how. Everything that I learned running that business, with the help, of course, my education, really helped me to develop exactly where I am today and how I was able to develop my interior design business. So I come from a very traditional Iranian family. My mother was raised actually in a boarding school in London. My father was raised in Tehran, and it was an arranged marriage. And everything was very formal, hence the formality of my life. So when my life completely took a 90-degree turn, or shall we say a 360 turn in the wrong direction, according to what society's rules were, a single mother in that culture is the worst possible thing that you can think of. And instead of me focusing on that negative voice after a while, I'm telling you guys, this didn't happen overnight, but I'm summarizing. After I came to the realization that that voice and that story and that life that Nina was meant to live, and she was going to be perfect, and her life was going to be, she was going to have 2.5 children, she was going to live in this area, and she was going to do X, Y, and Z. When that story actually died, unbeknownst to me, I decided slowly that I was going to let go and shed all of the norms and all of the cultural weight that was on me as to what is the right thing to do. It was no longer about what I looked like in society, what I presented in society. I didn't care anymore. I said, I am who I am. You either take it or you leave it. Some people took it, but a lot of people didn't. I did lose friends, of course, this naturally happens in every divorce, but it's the people who stay, and it's the people that surround you that matter. It's the people that are honest. It's the people that are truthful. It's the people that care about you. It's the people that don't want anything from you that matter. And when I opened my heart, I soon thereafter met my current husband, who is from Virginia, who grew up in DC, salt of the earth, very down-to-earth human being. He grew up with a lot of his own issues, didn't have a father, came from a mother who, again, was also a single mother. He was raised by a single mother, a very well-known news journalist that wrote for the Washington Post. So he grew up with a mother that was empowering, that actually got arrested for fighting for women's rights, as they did when they protested in the 60s. So this was not your typical marriage. This is not somebody that typically my culture would accept. This is somebody who is different. And again, when all of the societal rules and all of the conditions that you have placed in your life, you throw out into the garbage and you start listening to yourself, that's when everything good happens. A book that I highly recommend that you read is called The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And the 4 Agreements really is empowering because it gives you a powerful code of conduct that will literally transform your life. By the way, these books that I'm mentioning are wonderful books that I like to keep on my bedside table. I like to keep them close to me. They're sort of I would say a Bible of sorts, and I like to reread them regularly because what happens is you continuously forget because that voice, that annoying voice, comes right back, and it's going to come back for every one of us. There is no exception unless you are, I don't know, something extremely rare, unless you're like a very special person. But most of the time, most of us forget, and we are brought back to our earthly annoyances. And so these books are really great to purchase, own, and leave right next to you so that when you have moments of stress, when you have moments where you don't know what's happening, you actually refer to them, and then they bring complete clarity back to you. After many years of working in retail and having done it all, from being in Target to doing licensing deals with Babies R Us, Bye Bye Baby, you name it, we did it. Decorating very well-known celebrity nurseries. I decided more than ever that my calling and my passion was interior design. It was obvious because the projects that I enjoyed the most while running basically this business was the interior design aspect, because I had always been obsessed with interior design. I had done flips along the way. I had mentioned earlier in my videos that my father is an architect. We would go to open houses for fun. I built my houses. I had renovated every house I've ever owned. So it was really a part of who I was. And when I opened my heart and listened to what made me happy and didn't think about the financial implications, it didn't matter to me if I was going to make money or not, because I had a small nest egg that I had saved from working very diligently and very hard. So when you have a little bit of money, that gives you the freedom to follow your passion. And that is what I recommend. Follow whatever speaks to you. If your inner gut says you have to make clothes, or you have to design, the next best telephone, whatever that may be, whatever that passion is, or to be a painter or a guitarist, whatever it is, you must absolutely listen to it, because if you follow that dream, the dream will happen. There is no question that it will happen. And the reason it'll happen is because you are listening to your inner heart. And if your inner heart says, do it, which it did for me, interior design, give it your best, give it your all, and work hard without giving up. I always tell my children, never, ever, 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 ever give up. Never. So what you do is, listen, it's not easy, but if you work hard at it, diligently and without giving up, day after day after day after day after day, which is what I did every moment of every day, worked 16-hour days sometimes. I still work 12, 14-hour days to this day. You will find success. And I don't even think about money. Money comes. Everything that you see, everything that is around me, everything that surrounds me, every material item that is here, we have done, my husband and I, have done together by working hard, by pursuing our goals, by really living the dream that we were given that was just sitting in our hearts that we were just not accessing. So if you've got it in your heart, go for it. Don't be afraid. Get it done today. So there it is, my life in a nutshell. Very condensed. And as much as I was planning on keeping it short, I get very passionate about this particular topic because I wish that someone had spoken to me, even though Oprah indirectly, or directly, I should say, actually did. So I hope you can take this to heart, and I hope that you can implement this, because you will have a much better life when you shed all of the predisposed notions of what success is and all of the things that you're supposed to do, and you just walk away from it. Walk away and take the risks that I was able and forced in a way to take. So my assistant and videographer are telling me that I talked way too much, and for that reason I don't think we can add a Q&A to this episode. So I'm going to do a two-part last minute decision where we're going to go into your exact questions. We did an Instagram story where we asked, what are your dying questions? We got, I can't even tell you, flooded. Instagram got flooded with your questions. So we are going to answer those next week on this channel without fail. And we also want to tell you about our giveaway. So we are going to give away, as I mentioned, this 2022 is a year of giving, not just taking, but giving. So I have partnered with Bubble Bar. This is not a sponsored video. This is just a kind offering from them, from their part, which I thought was really wonderful. So 4 of you are going to get a monogram blanket. As you can see, you can choose a variety of designs. You can choose your colorway. You can choose the type of monogram you want. These blankets look great on a sofa. They're great to cuddle up and read one of the books that I mentioned to you today. And we are going to be announcing the winners on my social media, on Instagram, as stories. In order to qualify, you must follow me on Instagram, and you must comment in not only below in this video, but you also have to be following me on Instagram in order to qualify. That's it. All you have to do is write, I want a blanket, and you are automatically entered. I know I've thrown a lot at you with regard to this giveaway, so the details are going to be in the description section as to what you need to do to qualify. It's really easy. It takes maybe 5 seconds, and make sure and read it so that you don't make an accidental mistake. I mustn't forget the most important part of all of this is my gratitude. The reason I am where I am today is not because of my hard work. Yes, that is a very big component, but it is really thankfully due to you guys following me, supporting me, taking time out of your day to watch videos or reels, taking time to comment. And I really, really, really am grateful for you, because I wouldn't be here without you. And for that reason, I want to do a special shout out to 3 very special followers, which I will have shout outs throughout the year, because I want to acknowledge every single one of you if I can. I know there's a lot of you, so just because I haven't shouted everybody out doesn't mean I don't love you and notice that you're leaving comments. But just for that reason, I want to thank especially Edna Reed, Frida Wilson, and Randy Rossman. Thank you guys for being such devoted followers, for being so kind, and for the continued support. I want to thank every single one of you for coming to this channel week after week and being lovely, and I can't wait to see you next week on our very special episode of a very fun Q&A, which will focus on your specific questions. So if you want your questions answered, And a lot of these questions overlap, so I'm sure you will get the results, and the questions that you are dying to find out about will be answered on this next episode. So don't forget to follow, don't forget to like, and we'll see you again next week on this channel, The Red Elevator.